G'day guys, Mike, Goldfields Travels. You would have seen in a short that I did that we've pretty much been rained out of prospecting for 2 or 3 days. So this is day 2, no prospecting, but it is starting to dry out a bit. And just before I forget, quick call out to the fellas out here prospecting that follows me. He thought I might have been in the area, and he rocked up and said g'day. So g'day mate, good to catch up with somebody that subscribes. Might even get him on video if he calls up for a beer. Anyway, this is day 2. As I said, no prospecting. I think if we're looking at the weather, I'm thinking that maybe we might be okay to prospect tomorrow. One would hope so, but I thought I finally got everything set up. I was a bit slow getting it set up properly. I finally got camp set up. I was a bit slow setting up this time because we were still making a decision on how long we were gonna hang this spot, but I think we're going to be here a while. Now this is my long-term setup. I've mentioned it a few times before, but now I've got a setup. I thought I might give you a show around just to show how we live when we're out in the sticks for 6 to 8 months at a time. So let's have a look around camp. So this year I got myself a new Jenny. My other one's in Queensland. It inverter sort of died. Didn't want to play the game. And we got the Starlink out. That Jenny's really quiet, by the way. It's one of the new 22i's. But power supply run over there. I've just been putting a bit of bump in the battery on the car, because with all the cloud and that, and I've been charging a fair bit out, the battery was getting down a bit. Got the Starlink. Oh, where would we be without Starlink? Refueling point. But and I got a bit of rubbish there too, just keep it away from the camp of a day. The Starlink, I've got to tell you guys, that Starlink is it's like having NBN, like NBN at home. So this is a long-term camp setup. To be honest, you know, it's a little bit luxurious, I think, but you know, drift kitchen in the dot, walk up hard top. I don't use this when I travel. My induction cooker does go in there, and I just put stuff around it, stop it rattling around, you know, some paper towels and that. But generally I use that. I don't like to cook in there because it makes a bit of a mess, especially food splatter around a bit, and I do a lot of the old stir-fry type stuff, and it can get a bit messy. And the benefit of using it, cooking in there, is if you've got a gas, it gets a little bit of shelter. But I'm completely off gas cooking now, because since I've had the induction cooker. And doesn't matter about wind, doesn't matter about paper towel blowing up, it doesn't matter about anything, it just cooks. And it's fast, easily adjustable, and I mean, I only got to run the Jenny for 5 minutes just to have a bit of a cook up. When I put the bigger inverter in, I won't even need to do that. So that's the kitchen set up. You know, I keep knives and forks, pots, pans, a few plates and such in there, my fry pan. I virtually live out of this. The Snow Peak extension and the IGT table 3, I think it is. I just have my drain and sink in there, and I'll pop that out, of course. I just have my drain and sink in there. It's just a good spot for it. The pot's down, the wind doesn't blow. You know, you get a bit of a wind, and when they're sitting on something, it blows it away. But good spot, everything is sitting there, it doesn't get blown away, dries, gets a little bit of sun, so it dries it out. I use this cutting board on top of the charcoal grill when I'm cutting food up something. But when I use that charcoal grill, and it's had a bit of use, I love it. I might even fire it up tonight, cook a bit of steak. But love this setup. That's my, what would we call it, my pantry box. It's got all my bits and pieces of extras in there. It's just perfect. This is one of the Drifter Stockton aluminium boxes. It's the Fritz. I tell you, I love that. They see it. Never had any dust get into that. Here's the large one, and I get a bit over putting clothes in bags, because I used to have 2 bags, and then when they get a bit empty and they don't mold to anything, so about 2 months ago I went and bought one of the larger LU, one of the larger LU trunks, and it's just perfect. If we have a look, now I've got all my clothes now, all my work clothes. I've got another bag, just a little overnight bag, and that just has like a couple pairs of jeans, a pair of good shorts, and a few good shirts and such in there, because most of the time I'm in work clothes, you know, out here for 8 months this year, and I can even go and have a meal in my work clothes in town if I want to. But so that's just ideal. It holds a whole stack of clothes. I've got no end clothes in there. Once again, geez, we've seen some dust, and I mean, look, not a bit of dust in there. These seals, they look so simple. It's such a simple solution, but and there's not a lot of pressure on these clamps. But these LU boxes, they're not super cheap, but they're not super expensive, I don't think, for what they are. But these LU boxes are, there they go. But those two boxes, they go up on the tray here when we're traveling, so they pop up here. And normally a jerry can as well, jerry can of water I set up there. Gives a nice balance to the trailer. So just that bag there, it's actually a saddle bag that the Luke makes, and that's just things that I need to grab all the time, you know, like I've got just a screwdriver and a couple of things in there, and some emergency tape, things like that. If I just need to grab something straight away and I don't want to be shuffling through the drawers and such, or, you know, getting into the back of the car, it's really accessible. So normally we'd have a fridge there. I had a Evercool, the 60 litre Evercool. Sadly that passed away and is no more. So I did have, I'll show you shortly, but I did have a 40 litre Angler in there, which fits just neat and gives you a little bit of room to put some stuff behind it. But I killed a battery on the Cape trip and it's never recovered. Lithium, by the way, but I ran it flat every day for about 2 weeks, and it finally died. And so I've got that in the camper now. It's fine to run the lights and to run the inverter and everything, but as soon as you load it up with the fridge, it has a voltage drop and the fridge shuts off due to low voltage. So and that fridge in there is my freezer, so it used to cut in there. It just wasn't reliable when you got 40 litre freezer, you know, full of meat and frozen goodies. My little charging station there, so that's my charge point at the moment. I've also got one at the back of the car that I use for prospecting gear and often my GoPro batteries, although GoPro is on the way out with me. We'll talk about that in another video. So I really like this setup. I've got here's a couple of bags of Gidgee charcoal, Pitt Brothers. So I've just been organising a bit of gear because some stuff got a bit wet in that. Solar panels, they keep 200 watt kick-ass solar panels. They keep the battery up to speed enough to run the 300 watt inverter and the lights, because that's about all I'm running on the tent now with that battery that's doesn't like a heavy load. Porta potty, normally bush it, but when it's been raining or you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, I don't want to be tramping across the bush to share my experience with some critters that get around at night, especially snakes. They're everywhere at night. Another storage area, that's just, you know, tables and gear, a little bit of prospecting, a couple of prospecting coils, electric blanket in there, and this is my shower area here. So there's my wash up area, that's what I do when I'm washing up. My shower area, the hot water service is about to come out. I've got one of those companion lithium battery gas Canada type portable hot water services. That'll come out of the front. Because it's getting a bit cold now to have a cold shower. Wildland Drifter Stockton rooftop tent, loving that tent. I've got it up there with a couple of durners, have a fan up there, a light up there, you know. I've got my charge battery pack up there, so I've got all the power on up there. It's really good, it's nice and cool, surprisingly cool. And as much as I love the other tent that came on the walk-up hardtops, this tent is much cooler, and surprisingly it's quicker and easier to set up and pack down. So this is just a tarp I bought. I put some sail track on the side of the camper, just pulled that out to give me a bit of a shelter, and you know, very open air showering and toilet here. I've got a beautiful view across. I think I mentioned that before. And just another shade tarp around here, which I basically just bodge it up. You know, the goes on a couple of poles, and I just pull it up in the awning there, and it's all tensioned down, so that goes real good. Here's the new case that you can get for the Starlink now. The Starlink fits in there snug as a bug in a rug, and I've got to tell you, it's just ideal for carting around. I don't have to worry about it bashing around or damaging anymore, because you know, we'll get across a few gnarly tracks. I've got the drifter Stockton awning, the large drifter Stockton awning. Does the treat, gives me enough cover. The only thing I've got to do is I've got to rearrange to have a gutter. There used to be a gutter. I need to do a gutter arrangement, just stop that water coming down off the rooftop tent, but that won't take much. It was just an afterthought that I should have done before I came out. So that's about the camp setup. It's not long, we won't be long, be able to have a fire, so we're stocking up the wood pile. You can see I've got both fridge and the freezer in the back of the cruiser now. I'm just charging up some drone gear. I always carry a slab of water with me when I'm out, especially on those hot days. So there's plenty of water if I get stuck. I've got a slab of water there. You know, I'm loving this setup. It's really pretty comfortable. Actually, people have said to me about why have you gone for a ladder rooftop tent and done away with the conventional walkout hardtop. Well, I haven't. The wall layer tent, you know, it's got a really large window at this end, and I still use it to walk up hardtop. If you have a look, I haven't even got my ladder connected. I've only pulled the ladder out once since I've had it on the dot, and that was because I was having some trouble with the zip, and I just needed to get up on the outside and get a little bit of silicone spray on and sort the zip out. Apart from that, that's the first time that ladder's been out since I took the rooftop tent off my cruiser. But it's comfy, it's working well for me. Even though I'm getting a bit old for it, I think. I'm probably looking a bit scruffy. But that's about it, guys. So that's how we live our bush. Well, that's how I live our bush. If you're Laurie and Joe, you live like that. Rhinomax off-road van, magnificent. Maybe I'll buy a van one day, who knows. And just an overview of, you know, of how tough we do it at Scrub. We do it a bit tough actually, we work pretty hard, but as far as relaxation goes, there's plenty of comfort to have, and really good kitchen setup. You know, I just love it. One of the best, you know, one of the best kitchen setups that got a bit going on in the background. But one of the better kitchen setups, you know, I think among the best in off-road campers. Alright guys, that's it. I hope there's a little bit of an interest. It fills a gap for me because I get terribly bored when I can't go out prospecting or I can't be doing something. So I thought it was a good opportunity. Now I've got the final setup here, and you know, going to be here for a while. It'd be a good opportunity to show you guys on the old fella as a prospector lives. There'll be a lot of living like this because I've gone full-time prospecting this year. You might have seen me say that before. So there's a little bit of refinement to go, but loving it. And the sun's shining. Check it. Oh, yes, try that ground out. Time to get back on the gold. See you guys. Thanks for watching. Flies are still hungry, by the way. Oh, gee.